Okay, you guys, so we're actually going to talk about another technique really quick, and this was a technique I talked about in another video, and this is the technique that really helps me to get everything, you guys. And it's not necessarily a technique, it could be an affirmation of some sort, but this is the I remember when, and this is from Neville Goddard, but where he says, I remember when I was broke, which applies that now you're wealthy. And so I really want to talk about this because, like I said, this has been a game changer. And I described on that one video when I hit $10,000 in one day. The only way I think it really happened was because in my mind, I had this flashback of there's been so many times in my life where I have been extremely abundant, and the abundance was not coming from the money or coming from, you know, all the friends and the partners and all this stuff. It was more of my state of being. And so to understand that you have a relationship with everything in your life, a relationship with your money, a relationship with people, you have a relationship with your whole world, your universe. And the thing is, you have to realize that you've always had it, that if you exist right now, you've always had it. You've always had the access to abundance. You've always had the access to love. You've always had the access to whatever it is, anything you can think of, you've always had the access to it. But this is actually remembering. So this is what I like about it, because I remember when is really calling in that memory that even if you manifest something, you guys, you are doing it from memory. If you see it in your head and you visualize it, you get the visuals. When you do get the manifestation, it is coming from a memory that you've plugged into your subconscious, right? So when you say, I remember that I've always been, that's one of my favorites. When I say, I remember that I've always been wealthy, I remember that I've always had money, I remember that I've always had my SP, that I've always been loved, that I've always had this, always had that. I can plug in those memories, or I can plug in those pictures that from the future of things that haven't even occurred yet. I get those images in my head when I say that. And so when it does manifest, I'm like, oh, I did that from memory. And it's such a lighthearted way to manifest instead of affirming 1,000 times for me. I really find that I remember when I've always been wealthy, or I remember I've always made $10,000 effortlessly, or I remember that I always manifested money effortlessly. It doesn't matter like the state of money, because there's no difference from $1 to $1 million. It's just the energy of what you're placing more attention on. And I really want you guys to place more attention on the state of being that you were in, or the state of being, the feeling that you're feeling when you say, I remember when, because it's not about the material thing that you are trying to manifest or the person. It's you connecting with that feeling within yourself, that awareness that, hey, I do remember that I've always had that. Hey, I do remember that I've had access to everything in this reality. And I think this is why that technique works extremely well and extremely quickly, because you're calling the memory, you're calling your conscious awareness, you're lifting your awareness higher up. And so when you lift your conscious awareness higher up, then you realize you have that perspective view of everything. Then you can see everything exists here and for you right now. So my favorite way to do it is, I remember when I remember when I was broke. That's one of my favorite ones, because then that implies that I have money now. I remember that my SP has always loved me. And so when you say that, you remember, and you can even, the images will come up, you guys, of things that have not even happened yet in your physical 3D. If you're manifesting an SP, you'll start to get those visuals. But what you're seeing is the awareness that you've always had it in your reality, even if you can't see it right now, even if you don't see the SP right now, but by you seeing that little visual or catching that feeling, catching that mood, I'm telling you, it's coming from memory. And that's why when your manifestations come in, it's because you remembered that you already had it. You remember you already seen the scene in your head. You've seen the imaginal scene in your head. You've seen, or you heard the conversations through people saying congratulations. It's because you remembered it. And that's why it happens quicker, you guys. So that is my favorite technique. And I do this all the time. I'm like, because if I'm saying I'm a millionaire now, I'm like, oh, if I see something, I saw this the other day when I went into the mall. There was a bag that I wanted to get. And I said, oh, I've always remembered I had the money to buy that. And I could see myself wearing the bag. And so I know it's only an amount of time before I have that bag physically, because I can see myself, feel it, and feel myself with it, walking around with it now. And so it just, those things happen effortlessly. You'll start to see the pictures, which is connecting to that memory that you're actually going to do it, but you're going to do it from remembering that you've already done it before. And so that's why I really love that technique, you guys. And like I said, you guys, we don't talk about a whole lot of techniques over here, but that one is my favorite technique. But I really like it because it helps you become more consciously aware that you have everything right now, and that every moment is perfect, you guys. Every moment. All right, so get down below and let me know what you remember that you have already had, or put your statement of whatever you're trying to manifest, whether it's, I remember that I've already won the lottery. I already remember that me and my SP are married. I remember when we got married. I remember when we vacationed here. I remember when this. I remember when that. Go ahead and drop it down in the comments below so I can read through some of them and see what you guys have already manifested within. And so that way when it comes to fruition in the 3D, we could talk about it and you guys can come back and let me know that it's happened. All right, so you guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and once again, imagination is always on your side, and I am too. Bye.